What if the world you see is nothing more than a masterfully woven illusion? A veil drawn over your eyes since birth, hiding truths that could set your mind and spirit free. Since the dawn of history, a secret has been guarded, buried beneath layers of tradition, distortion, and distraction. This secret is not guarded by monsters, but by a world that profits from your blindness. They want you to believe you are powerless, a mere cog in a relentless machine. But within you lies a spark, a force older than any system, waiting to awaken. The question is not whether the illusion exists, but whether you are ready to see through it, to claim the ancient birthright hidden in plain sight. Most will never question the world's story, but for those who do, the first crack in the illusion is a whisper. Could there be more to this life than survival and struggle? The ancient ones called it the divine spark. It is the power to shape reality, not a gift from outside, but an inheritance locked within your own being. Every ancient culture spoke of this secret. They left clues in symbols, temples, and stories, signposts for those brave enough to search beyond what is seen. But the world you know profits from your doubt. Systems of power feed on your uncertainty, weaving distractions to keep you from awakening to your true potential. Now, as the illusion begins to unravel, a new question emerges. If you could see reality as it truly is, what would you become? This is the first step on your journey, not just to unlock hidden truths, but to awaken the power that has always waited, quiet, patient, and unstoppable, within you. The world is about to change, and it begins with a single choice. Will you open your eyes? For centuries, the most powerful knowledge on Earth has been deliberately hidden from you, guarded by those who understand that true freedom begins in the mind. In 1945, a discovery shook the foundations of established power. In the caves of Nag Hammadi, Egypt, 13 ancient manuscripts emerged from the sand, texts that had been buried for nearly 2,000 years. Why were these Gnostic texts hidden? Because they contained a truth that threatened every system of control. You are not merely human. You carry the divine within you. This knowledge terrified those in power. If every person realized they carried divinity within, that they needed no intermediary to access their own power, what would happen to those who ruled through fear and dependence? Today, you stand at the same crossroads as those who came before. Will you accept the world as it's presented to you? Or will you dare to question, to see beyond the veil, to remember what you truly are? Modern science now confirms what mystics knew for millennia. Your consciousness is far more powerful than you've been led to believe. Neuroscience reveals that meditation literally reshapes your brain, activating regions linked to higher awareness. Yet our world celebrates only one kind of intelligence: analytical, logical, divisive. The deeper wisdom, intuitive, holistic, connective, is dismissed as fantasy. Why? Because it's harder to control those who trust their inner knowing. Consider the serpent. Once revered across ancient cultures, as the symbol of wisdom and healing. Why was this powerful symbol transformed into the embodiment of evil? What were they trying to hide from you? The truth? This serpent represents Kundalini, the dormant spiritual energy coiled at the base of your spine. When awakened, it rises through energy centers, activating abilities that defy the limitations you've been taught to accept. And what of sacred geometry? The patterns that appear everywhere, from sunflower seeds to galaxies, from your DNA to ancient temples? These aren't just pretty designs. They're the blueprint of creation itself, the language through which consciousness shapes reality. Perhaps most threatening to the established order is the truth about manifestation. Quantum physics confirms what ancient wisdom taught. Your consciousness directly influences reality at its most fundamental level. Your thoughts literally shape the world around you. This knowledge has been hidden because an awakened population cannot be controlled. Those who understand their divine nature no longer bow to artificial limitations or external authority. They become the authors of their own reality. Today, this ancient knowledge resurfaces, not by accident, but because humanity stands at a crucial threshold. The old systems are failing, the illusions are thinning, and the time has come for you to remember who you truly are. Are you ready to break free from the illusion, to reclaim your forgotten power, to see beyond the veil? The journey begins now, not with seeking outside yourself, but by awakening what has always been within. Part 2. The Gnostic Revelation. When the Nag Hammadi texts emerged from the sands of Egypt, they didn't just challenge religious doctrine, they shattered our entire understanding of human potential. These texts spoke of the archons, forces that maintain the illusion of our reality, keeping humanity trapped in a dreamlike state, disconnected from our true divine nature. The Gnostics taught that true salvation comes not from worship or blind faith, but from Gnosis, direct personal knowledge of your own divine nature. They understood that the greatest prison is one where the inmates don't even realize they're confined. Every spiritual tradition, at its mystical core, points to the same truth. You are not merely your body or your thoughts. You are consciousness itself, temporarily experiencing human form. This understanding is the key that unlocks the prison door. The systems that benefit from your limitation don't want you to discover this truth. They've constructed elaborate distractions, endless consumption, artificial scarcity, manufactured fear, to keep your attention focused outward, never inward, where true power resides. Consider how we've been taught to view our bodies as mere machines, separate from mind and spirit. Yet ancient wisdom recognized 7 major energy centers, chakras, aligning with modern understandings of the endocrine system and neural networks. These energy centers, when properly activated, don't just improve health, they expand consciousness itself, opening doorways to abilities considered impossible by conventional science. Heightened intuition, distance healing, direct knowing, and the power to manifest thought into physical reality. This is why ancient temples weren't merely places of worship. They were precisely engineered technologies for consciousness expansion. From the Great Pyramid to Angkor Wat, these structures were built on exact mathematical principles to amplify human energetic potential. Modern quantum physics now confirms what mystics have always known. At the subatomic level, matter doesn't exist as definite particles until observed. The observer, consciousness itself, collapses wave functions into particles, literally creating physical reality through perception. This isn't abstract theory. It's the science behind manifestation. Your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs aren't just internal experiences. They're creative forces that shape the quantum field, determining which potential realities become your actual experience. At the heart of this hidden knowledge lies a forgotten symbol, a key to activating what some traditions call your spiritual DNA. This symbol appears across ancient cultures worldwide, from Egypt to Tibet, encoded in texts and temples meant to survive the ages. This symbol doesn't just represent transformation, it catalyzes it. When properly understood and integrated, it activates dormant aspects of consciousness, unlocking abilities that seem miraculous by conventional standards. Profound healing, heightened perception, conscious reality creation. The question isn't whether this knowledge is real. The evidence surrounds us. The question is, are you ready to reclaim it? To step beyond the boundaries of the reality you've been taught to accept? To awaken to your true nature and potential. Part 3. The Science of Consciousness. What if the greatest scientific revolution isn't happening in laboratories, but in the understanding of consciousness itself? Ancient wisdom and cutting-edge science are converging on a stunning conclusion. Consciousness is not a byproduct of the brain. It's the fundamental fabric of reality. Neuroscience now confirms what meditation masters have taught for millennia. Regular meditation literally reshapes the brain, increasing gray matter in regions associated with awareness, compassion, and focus, while reducing activity in the areas linked to stress and limitation. Meditation is not just a spiritual practice, it's a technology for awakening. As brainwaves slow, the mind quiets, and the illusion of separation begins to dissolve, revealing a reality of profound unity and limitless possibility. Ancient mystics called these states gateways, openings to wisdom, healing, and spiritual insight. When you access higher consciousness, you are no longer a prisoner of circumstance, but a conscious creator of your life. The greatest enemy of awakening is not darkness, it is distraction. Every moment spent in fear, division, or self-doubt strengthens the illusion. Every moment of presence, wonder, or gratitude weakens it. Time itself is part of the illusion. Ancient wisdom and modern science agree. The present moment is all that truly exists. When you anchor your awareness here and now, you step outside the prison of past regrets and future anxieties. The illusion of separation is the root of all suffering. Science shows that when people meditate or practice compassion, measurable changes occur. Brain regions related to empathy and connection light up, dissolving boundaries between self and other. Non-duality is the ancient insight that all seeming separation is an illusion. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the ocean, temporarily taking the form of a drop. When you remember this, fear dissolves. Problems become momentary ripples on the surface of deeper peace. You no longer seek salvation outside yourself. You discover it within, as the very ground of your being. The lost symbol is more than a forgotten glyph. It is a living portal, a tool to awaken your spiritual DNA and step into your highest potential. This path is not meant to be walked alone. Community, humility, and courage are essential. Support each other, question everything, and remember, the real journey is the integration of ancient wisdom into everyday life. The illusion can only hold you as long as you forget your own power. The moment you choose to awaken, to see, to remember, to reclaim your destiny, the world itself begins to change. Part 4. Sacred Sites as Consciousness Technologies. The ancient world was covered with precisely engineered structures, not built through primitive toil, but through advanced understanding of energy, consciousness, and sacred geometry. The Great Pyramid isn't just an architectural marvel, it's a resonance chamber, precisely calibrated to amplify consciousness. Its measurements encode mathematical constants found throughout nature, and its placement aligns with stellar configurations that amplify energetic effects. Sacred sites weren't placed randomly. They form a global grid of energy points, strategically positioned at locations where Earth's electromagnetic fields naturally amplify. Ancient peoples understood that certain places could transform consciousness simply through their energetic properties. Modern science confirms these sites can alter brainwaves, shifting mind states from anxious beta to peaceful alpha and profound theta states. Simply sitting in these spaces can activate higher states of consciousness, facilitating healing, intuition, and spiritual awakening. Shamanic traditions speak of the luminous energy field, an invisible matrix surrounding the physical body that records every emotional wound and traumatic experience. Sacred sites act as energetic cleansers, clearing these imprints and restoring your natural state of balance and flow. Part 5. The Serpent Wisdom. Why does the serpent appear in every ancient tradition, from the Caduceus of Greece to the Kundalini of India, from the feathered serpent of the Americas to the Uraeus of Egypt? Because it represents the most powerful energy within you. This serpent symbolism represents Kundalini, the dormant spiritual energy coiled at the base of your spine. When awakened through meditation, breathwork, or sacred sound, it rises through the energy centers, activating higher consciousness, healing, and extraordinary abilities. Why was this knowledge suppressed? Consider how the serpent was transformed in Abrahamic traditions, from the bestower of wisdom to the embodiment of evil. The ancient warning becomes clear. Those who wish to control humanity first needed to demonize the very symbol of our awakening. In ancient Egypt, the serpent represented healing wisdom and protected royalty. In Greece, the rod of Asclepius, a serpent coiled around a staff, remains the symbol of medicine today. These weren't mere myths, but encoded knowledge of energy, consciousness, and transformation. Awakening this serpent energy isn't about escaping reality, it's about seeing through the illusion to what's real. When Kundalini rises, it burns away false identities and limitations, revealing your true nature as boundless consciousness, capable of creating, healing, and transforming. Part 6. Sacred Geometry, the Blueprint of Creation. Look closely at a sunflower, a pine cone, a nautilus shell. The same mathematical patterns appear everywhere. The Fibonacci sequence, the golden ratio, the flower of life. These aren't coincidences, but expressions of creation's underlying code. Sacred geometry isn't just visual, it's vibrational. When specific sound frequencies interact with matter, they naturally create these same geometric patterns. Ancient temples were designed based on these principles, creating resonance chambers that could transform consciousness through sound alone. The Merkaba, a three-dimensional Star of David, is one of the most powerful sacred geometric forms. It represents the light vehicle that surrounds your body, connecting physical and spiritual realms. When activated, it facilitates healing, protection, and expanded states of consciousness. Part 7. The Science of Manifestation. The quantum field reveals that reality isn't fixed. It's a sea of possibilities, waiting to be observed into existence. Your thoughts and feelings literally shape which potential realities materialize in your experience. This isn't wishful thinking. It's supported by the placebo effect, which demonstrates the mind's power to create measurable physical changes. Your beliefs directly influence your biochemistry, your nervous system, and ultimately, the reality you experience. The ancient traditions understood this as magic, but there's nothing supernatural about it. It's how reality functions at its core. When you align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with clear intention, you're not defying the laws of physics. You're working with them at their quantum level. The key is coherence, aligning your conscious desires with your subconscious beliefs and emotional states. When these are in conflict, manifestation is blocked. When they're aligned, reality responds with remarkable synchronicity and flow. Part 8. The Mystery of Consciousness and Non-Duality. The greatest illusion and the source of all others is that consciousness is confined to your brain. Ancient wisdom and frontier science now converge. Consciousness isn't generated by the brain. It's fundamental to existence itself. The analogy from ancient India remains perfect. Individual consciousness is like a wave in the ocean. The wave appears separate, with its own characteristics and movement, but it's never actually distinct from the ocean itself. This isn't mere philosophy. It explains phenomena that materialist science struggles with. Near-death experiences, shared consciousness, remote viewing, precognition, and the profound interconnection experienced in deep meditation states. The implications are profound. You aren't a separate self, struggling in a random universe. You are the universe experiencing itself through a particular perspective. Your essence is not confined to your body. It extends to the furthest reaches of existence. Part 9. The Lost Symbol and Spiritual DNA. Throughout history, certain symbols have been preserved despite systematic suppression, not as mere decorative elements, but as activation keys for dormant potential within human consciousness. The most powerful of these is what scholars call the lost symbol, a spiral of energy spinning clockwise, with a six-pointed star at its center, surrounded by a circle. This exact configuration appears in ancient texts and artifacts worldwide, from Egypt to Tibet, from the Americas to Australia. What modern science calls junk DNA, the 97% of genetic material with no apparent function, ancient traditions recognized as dormant spiritual coding. The lost symbol serves as an activation key for this DNA, awakening latent abilities encoded in your very cells. Working with this symbol isn't about blind faith. It's about direct experience. When visualized during meditation, held as intention during energy practices, or incorporated into sacred spaces, it creates a resonance that facilitates healing, intuitive opening, and expanded awareness. Part 10. The Journey of Awakening. Integration and Pitfalls. Awakening isn't an escape from reality. It's a profound engagement with what's real, beyond the illusion. The journey requires balance, discernment, and most importantly, integration into everyday life. The path is not without pitfalls. Spiritual ego, believing you're more awakened than others, simply replaces one illusion with another. Information overload, consuming endless spiritual content without practice, keeps awakening intellectual rather than experiential. True awakening doesn't separate you from life. It immerses you more fully in it. The wisdom traditions teach balance, meditation and action, solitude and community, questioning and trust, ancient knowledge and modern application. This journey is best walked together. Find community, others who support your questioning and growth. Share insights, but honor each person's unique path. Remember that awakening is both deeply personal and ultimately collective. The world stands at a threshold. Old systems of control are failing. The veil is thinning, and you have a choice: to remain within the familiar illusion or to awaken to your true potential, your divine nature, your role in transforming not just your life, but our collective reality. The time is now. Will you remember who you truly are?